Good afternoon, everyone. Um, Welcome to a virtual comment session. I hope you have enjoyed the sessions so far. My name is Sean Bababeigi from ITS. Today, with my colleague Jithin Sebastian, we're going to cover the topic about the virtual commons and what it's all about. Virtual commons. Let's talk about first what is virtual commons. Virtual commons is a solution that ITS put in place when the pandemic started. Basically, when the college actually shut down at the beginning, everybody was scrambling exactly how the course is going to continue and how about the material and then the access to the labs and workstations and things that needs to be in place for the courses to be delivered. So at the very beginning, there were lots of challenges. We had the infrastructure in place, so we rolled out the VPN quickly to all the students and employees very quickly. We were one of the very first colleges or between institution between college and university to actually do this one, to have VPN available for us, all students and employees to be able to actually connect to the Seneca network. On top of that, we started with enabling remote access to some of the specialized lab that absolutely needed this service to continue or to be able to complete their courses. There was a lot of specialized labs that they needed students to actually work on workstations that are already pre-configured with the softwares and the set of tools that are available on them. So we started with some of the labs giving direct access to students over VPN, and it was very successful. The demand was so high, everybody was very happy. The students had the same experience as they were in the class, accessing the workstations. So if it wasn't for this initiative, I know there is a lot of courses that were not be able to offer 100% what they could have offered to the students otherwise, or even to be delivered altogether. So as I said, it was very successful and it was a great initiative. Now, as we go through the pandemic and the lockdown, and we realize that this is going to be something that is going to be somewhat permanent and going forward, ITS looked at other ways to how we can make this one even better at the time. So to remove the administration, to give students that self-service portal that they need, they can access it anytime they want. So we came up with the idea of the virtual commons. Virtual commons is basically it's a virtual computing commons, the facility that the students will be able to go and use the workstations at any given they want, work on their material, work on the courseware or whatever they had to do. There were some challenges for the students at the beginning of the pandemic. There were software issues. So the students had the hardware, but they did not have the software that they need to actually complete their courses or do their assignments and whatever they need for the course. So that was one of the biggest challenges. Even though my apps was there and it was very great tool, but some students, because of the lack of hardware resources on their machines or their workstations, they were not able to utilize it or run that software on their machine. So the hardware issue was another one. To also add to that, for the hardware, there were some softwares and applications that a lot of specialized courses need. They need access to the powerful workstation, not necessarily just the laptop or workstation that the students have at home or they were being provided. They need access to powerful workstation with, for example, some of them with the GPU graphic cards, CPU memory, or connection to existing resources within the college that was not available to students that they were working on the machine. And the third challenge was, I think, that was very well reserved, was the students with very slow internet connection, even domestically, and students that we have internationally. We had a lot of students that were outside Canada and they needed access to this one, but because of the restriction on their host country or the slow internet connection, they were not even to use the access to the Seneca resources or use the My Apps or have access to the software. So these three challenges, I think it was addressed by providing that RDP access at the beginning and virtual commons going forward. So the students had the same in-person access they had to the workstations. They could just, in addition to actually being able to actually use the workstation within a certain time when the college was open, they could access these one 24/7, and they had the same experience as they were using those workstations. And it was the same workstation that they used to access. It wasn't anything out of ordinary. They were used to how to log in, where the software are, and how things are. So Visual Commons provided this access to the students to provide the same experience as they had within the college, and it was very successful. So what are the facilities that are used for Visual Commons? So we had hundreds of computers available at Newnham, Seneca, King, and Markham that they were part of the computing commons. Now all these machines are available to students, to all students and employees, to be able to access it anytime they want, with no restriction in terms of who can access them. The great thing about the virtual common is that it doesn't need to be staffed. There is no maintenance. As long as the machines are available and nobody is using them, the students can go and use them for whatever they need during the day and anytime that they want. Providing access is one thing. Having it secure, it was another thing. So as I said at the beginning, with the VPN, there's two-layer authentication for students to be able to access the resources. They have to log into VPN first with their own account, and then after that, they have to log into the actual workstation with their Seneca ID. So it was completely secure. All the connection is encrypted in terms of the security and authentication. So in terms of what is available on Virtual Commons, there's over 800 workstations available in Commons. Not all of them as part of the the main company Commons. Some of them are a specialized lab, which we have 18 of them at the moment, that the students use those labs for access to those specialized computers or a specialized configuration for those labs that they need as part of their course. The great thing about the Virtual Commons is that it has a role-based access. So students, based on their course registration or enrollment, they can, once they log in, they can have access to those specialized lab that has been given to them, so they can access them. In addition, every single student has access to the main pool of workstation, which are the Computing Commons workstations, which is over hundreds of them available. They can use it anytime. The usage has been increased dramatically over time. We started with just a few, and now we have so far we have had over 2,500 unique users that are using the service since this started. Daily use, about over 200 users that we have that use this one on a daily basis. The sessions, some of them are there, some of them are using it for a couple of hours, some of them are 15-20 minutes. They come, do something, they need the software, and then they just drop off. So they're free to just access anytime they want. And so far, since this one is for Visual Common itself, since October launch, which was a soft launch, we have had close to 26,000 unique logon sessions since the beginning of the Virtual Commons. There are still some of the labs that are accessible through remote desktop for some of the specialized lab, but most of the access is through the Virtual Commons, which is an easy to use interface that is available to all the students. So without further ado, I pass it to my colleague Jithin. He's going to demo the actual student experience accessing Virtual Commons from home or from anywhere, basically, how they could access the Virtual Commons and how does it look like. Go ahead, Jithin, please.
Right. Thank you, Sean. Everybody who is trying to access Virtual Commons, they need to make sure they are connected to VPN. After you connect to VPN, you can access this website. So there is a nice documentation on ITS website about how to connect to Virtual Commons using a Mac or a Windows computer. So I'll be just going through the Windows part of it. It's very straightforward. You can use your Seneca username and password. There is no requirement for at senecacollege.ca. There is no need for any particular client to be downloaded and installed for Windows computers. It uses the built-in software called Remote Desktop to connect to it. For Mac, you need to install a client, and it can be easily downloaded from App Store. So once I put in my username and password, and I log in, I can see different pools which are assigned to me. Here, since I'm an administrator, I can see there are some extra pools associated with me. Summit 1, that's School of Mechanical Engineering Technology. That's a pool. That's a specialized lab or pool. Virtual Commons. This is the normal pool which when a normal student log in, they will see the Virtual Commons. So since I'm an employee, I can also see the employee Virtual Commons as well. So I can select any of this pool. The Virtual Commons is the generic pool. And if I am a student in a particular course, I can select one of those. So for now, I'm just selecting the Virtual Commons one, right? Sometimes it does that. Okay. So here I'm being asked, do I want to do a new reservation? I will say, and there is a notification that it's 15 minutes. Once I reserve a computer, I have to connect to it within 15 minutes. If I didn't do that, then I have to reserve another computer and log in. Right, and there is option to choose another pool if it is required. So I will reserve a computer. On the back end, it checked for a computer and it reserved a computer in Newnham campus, section E for me. I'll just connect to it. Once I click connect, it's going to download a RDP file where it will open on using the RDP, right? And the backend is opening right here. On the Sorry, it's on the other screen. All right. So once I click connect, it's moving to my main screen. I will put in my password. In the background, it's connecting to that computer and logging me in. So while I am logging in, if somebody else is logged in, it will check whether I'm logging into RDP, and if somebody else reserved this computer and I'm using the reservation, it will kick me out. So it's pretty secure in that way, so that nobody else will steal your section. Right? It's preparing the computer for me right now. Right, I'm in the desktop right now. So this is I'm remoted into one of the computer at the Newnham campus. I can see the hard drive space and the memory. I can use the full capacity of this machine. So it's very good. So here I can launch Seneca My Apps as normal student launches it. Once I click login, right now I have my apps here. So I can use any of the apps which is listed in here. Sometimes students might have their personal laptops with some antivirus like McAfee or some extra softwares installed if their computer is not powerful enough. Many of these applications, some of these applications will not work. So it helped us a lot, especially from our technical support points of view. When students comes and say this app is not working, we have an antivirus which is preventing accessing this. We sometimes direct them to here, and that way we help them in getting their work done. Right. Right. Cool. Back to you, Sean.
So to add, thank you, Jithin. So to just add what Jithin mentioned in terms of the software that's available, as you can see, there is wealth of software that is available already licensed. The students who are at home connecting to VPN on their own machine or on their own laptops, they don't necessarily have the hardware resources to be able to run some of those software. Even if they do, some of them they do not have the software to be installed or license it properly, because some of our licensing actually requires the machine to be on-prem as opposed to having it outside Seneca. So as you can see, all those software that is available to them is already licensed, ready to go. The students can use them. And the good thing about this one is that those softwares runs on the remote machine. It runs on those machines, and then only the pixels, only the view of the display is transferred to you. So it minimizes that bandwidth utilization that's needed to run this one. So you can run the AutoCAD, you can run those 3D application. It's running on the computer at Seneca as it was, and the students only seeing it in real time and then interact with it, and then the minimal requirements in terms of the internet access and bandwidth at home. So this was a huge success. Now going forward, we're going to do some enhancement to the virtual commons as well. Hopefully for fall semester, we'll have the future enhancements play. So as you saw, the pools are available there. There were 600 on the for students. There were close to 100 for employees and other specialized labs that are set up. But the access is randomized. So it means that when the student goes there, they click on that button, a randomized computer, for security purposes mostly, a randomized computer is assigned to them, and then they can use that one. Next time you come in or another person come in, they may or may not get the same machine in terms of the access. So, but some of the courses require students to be assigned to specific workstation to be worked throughout that semester. Whether or not they have to save things there, they need a virtual machine in there, they have to work with heavy files, or sometimes the students were given a loaner laptop, but instead of giving them loaner laptop, they can actually utilize the service. So there's requirements for to reserving or having a dedicated workstation for students throughout the semester. So we're working on that functionality to introduce it to Virtual Commons, that the students will have a dedicated workstation throughout their semester until they're finished with that workstation without anybody else to be given access to that. So that's one of the enhancement and one of the feedback that we have received. The second thing is that the scheduling. You saw the reservation is already there. The students go there, reserve it. Once they click reservation, that workstation belongs to the students until they're done with it. Nobody else can use it. But there's a requirement sometimes that a specific lab or a specific workstation to be scheduled for a course delivery or for a lecture that's being done remotely or even in class. So we're working also on the scheduling functionality that a certain workstation or certain labs or certain specialized lab could be scheduled on or off for certain groups of students or for a course and things like that. So that's another enhancement that's hopefully we can introduce Virtual Commons. And a third one, and that is very important to some of the school, especially the School of Creative Arts and Animation, that we're working with them with the professors in that school, is that they do have some very specialized software and application that requires access to the GPU that's installed on the workstation. Those graphic cards that are rendering the 3D images and then the graphics and things like that. So with the RDP, we were able to actually provide an acceptable level of service for the OpenGL to be available to the remote session, but there is room for improvement for that. So we're looking at enabling that full GPU utilization through that remote graphic we provided to students and professors for those specific labs that have those work sessions with the GPU. That's another enhancement we're looking for. Hopefully we can introduce for the fall semester. With that, I think we can go over if there are any questions that we could ask or if we could answer actually. So if you would like to ask a question, you could just have it in the chat and then we can monitor it, or if you could just unmute and ask, and we'll be happy to answer it. Yes, David. So the question from David is regarding the access to the AWS and Azure machines. Yes. So the whole goal of Virtual Commons was to provide access to existing workstation, the existing investment that Seneca has done, especially the labs and workstations. Some of those workstations, as I said, they have a very high-end GPU on them that is not really readily available on the cloud solution or public clouds. So yes, but we are working on the providing access, a similar access they have with this one to burst into the cloud in the AWS and Azure. So once the need is more there for students and there is more requests, we can actually we're working on that to actually have virtual machines on AWS and Azure as a burst option basically. So they can utilize that one as well. But again, the workstation that are available at Seneca, there are many of them, and they are super powerful. It's kind of difficult to get that number of VMs in a public cloud at the cost that we have. So, but going forward, yes.
There was a question about Chromebooks. We tried Chromebooks, but it was not. Well, the remote desktop option was not working. But there are third-party tools which you can use to access that.
There was access from Lisa for this. I never know how to explain to the students. So as Jithin mentioned, on employee side, we do have a complete write-up of the guide, how to use the virtual commons, how to access it, and what they need, and how the experience is. Even there are some instructional videos that they can watch. I believe the link is there, and Jithin is going to put the link on
Yeah,
the chat as well.
I can share a screen how to look for it. It's very easy to do. Let me share my screen. If you really want to find something on, if you go to, for example, if you're on Seneca intranet site, search for anything. So you can search for virtual commons. The search option is very good. So if you want to get find information about anything, you can do for search. The first option is virtual commons. Here you can look for the real. There is a real good write up about it, and there are videos which you can watch. And yes, please share this with students so that they can start using it.
So Jithin, if you could
Yeah.
please share your screen on the.
Oh, I'm not sure. Sorry. I'm not share. Okay, sorry. Oh, I didn't share. Sorry, my bad. So yeah. So let me go back. So I'm in the Seneca intranet site. So if I search for anything, I can. It's very nice search functionality in here. I can search for virtual commons. So the first option. So this is a nice write up about it. So it says there is a video tutorial if they are using Mac and if they want to use a Windows application, this is the way we direct them to. And there is also writing about how to connect it using a Windows computer as well. So yeah, please, as we are telling to faculties, please share this with students so that they know about it. Many of the students don't know, and they have a lot of problems with their personal computers where the softwares don't run and crash. So yeah, it would be a good idea to share this with students so that they can start using this functionality.
And thank you, Jithin. If you could please also put that link on the chat.
Sure. Yeah, I will do that right now. Yeah.
There was another question about the what if you have to use files or transfer files between your workstation or laptop and then the workstation that you're working on. So for advanced users, there's an option that you can modify that RDP file so you can mount your USB or even your own hard drive to be available on that remote session. So you can transfer the files between your workstation and the remote workstation that you're working in. So that option is there. Plus, these workstation at Seneca, they all have access to the internet, same as if you were using them on campus. So if you're using any cloud services like a Dropbox or Google OneDrive or Azure cloud services, they're readily available, so they can actually download them, collaborate them, and work on them, and then at the end upload them back. But that option is there, but also the option with the local drive is there as well, so they can actually use that same as regular RDP. The question about the global protect agent, So that Global Protect agent is the VPN agent that needs to be installed. So the students or employee, before they access the virtual commons, or for fact for many services at the college, they need to be logged on first to the VPN or to the Global Protect. So without being logged on to the VPN, I mean Global Protect, either as a student or employee, you will not even be able to actually hit that or access that virtual commons website to log in. So the requirement is there to be access to VPN first, and that was there. So you want to make sure that once you logged on to virtual commons, you're ready to go, as opposed to asking you to log in now and then log into VPN and then connect there. So the VPN has to be logged on first.